Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick, and joining me equally as always is Devon.
Let's talk about murder!
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about Persona 4. But before we get too far into that, let's go into our time-honored tradition. Before we go too far into that, let's get into our time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And do you have one for me today?
Yeah, Rick, I'm going for a bog-standard easy one. You have to make a Persona game, but you got to set it anywhere outside of Japan or America. Where do you set it, and how do you make it work?
Aussie. Just because I think it would be a lot of fun just to go around the different, something that represents the different cities, because like most of them are like the big city in that state. A lot like America has like state capitals or the thing that you think might as well be the state capital. They've got very different cultures and they try to differentiate themselves from each other. So having those as your dungeons would be, I think, neat. And yeah, there's quite a lot of Aussie legends. There's obviously Crocodile Dundee. Yes, he's fictional, but that's kind of the point of a lot of Personas.
You're going for Crocodile Dundee when usually you go towards something like the Bunyip or the Platypus.
Yeah, but it could be both ways. You know, there's like the platypus. There's
I don't think someone who is still alive should be able to be a Persona. That just feels wrong.
Okay, I feel you. Fair enough. Yeah, we could just make it just corruptions of Aussie creatures. Like the American one would be like the jackalope, but like Aussies have got drop bears.
Well, again, the classic myth from Australia that I know of is the Bunyip.
Yep. And then things that are extinct, like the Tasmanian tiger. They've managed to recreate a Tasmanian tiger to a degree of accuracy, but it's still not the actual thing that went extinct.
See, I don't see the point in that.
Yeah, I think the idea is to try and reintroduce it, but I think they just got killed by cats.
But why? What's the merit?
Well, it went extinct within the human span of cognition. So I think the idea is it's probably because of humans, almost certainly because humans brought cats.
Well, maybe so. But what's the point in bringing this thing back to life to stick it in zoos? Because that's definitely what they're going to do.
I think the idea is actually just to reintroduce it into Tasmania and.
Will they get fucked up by the devils?
Yeah.
it's a pointless endeavour. I really don't see the point in bringing back extinct animals.
But yeah, I think there's enough like culture and lore there to have something interesting. Because yes, you might say that it's just America light, but if you say that to any Aussie, they will shank you in the throat.
I don't think it's America light. I think it's like it's basically because we're British. I know Australia's history, and Australia's history is, hey, us as a bunch of white guys said fuck you Aboriginals and used it as a giant prison. It's nowhere near Australia light. Fuck America light.
Well, it was kind of very much similar in that it was a thing that we colonized, except that we had it colonized by prisoners who, okay, you get sentenced to transportation. Once your transportation is over, you have to pay for your own transportation back, or just stay there. And like 99% of them just stayed there and just built the country. And just like America, they were like, okay, they're our natives, we don't care. We are staking a claim, and this is ours now. It's just the way that the empire used to work back then.
Yeah, back then.
Not saying it's correct. Well, people tend to own countries now, as in, you know, they did before, but they own it now with militaries. So we can't really do it as often as we used to be able to. But yeah, so my one for you is there is a new Persona game. What do you base the personas that the protagonists on?
Knights of the Round Table.
Sure.
The protagonist one will be it won't be King Arthur. It won't be King Arthur until the end of the game, where you get the finale of, oh, it was King Arthur all along, because that's a Persona fucking trope. And then the very second person who joins the group will have Lancelot, and it will be a fucking red herring, because you'll think, oh, they got Lancelot, they're going to stab us in the back, but really they're a cool dude.
Yeah. The good old Yosuke and Ryuji's.
I'd have it be Knights of the Round Table mainly, but I'd probably also like throw in like one or two that was just another order of knights, just to keep it a bit fresh.
Oh, like good old Astolfo.
I wouldn't have picked Astolfo specifically, but if you want, you got enough Knights of the Round Table to have change with the Persona main team. You got fucking Tristan, Bedivere, I've forgotten the name of Lancelot's kid. You got Sir Gareth.
Was it Galahad?
Galahad, that was Lancelot's kid. You're correct. There you go. The one that famously decided to stick with Arthur despite his father's intentions. You could even be really weird about it and give one person Guinevere. Not Guinevere. That's fucking Dark Souls, isn't it? Am I getting my fucking lore mixed up again?
I think Guinevere was the real one, and then the Dark Souls one just took that and made everything a something Gwyn-X.
Man, do you know what I learnt the other day about Guinevere, by the way?
Go ahead.
Miyazaki fucking hated Guinevere's design because it didn't match Dark Souls at all. But the guy who made it worked so hard on it, he didn't have the heart to fucking shit can it.
Yeah, big titty brunette GF.
But yeah, you could probably do that. You got Mordred, obviously, but I don't know. I think Mordred would probably be a well, we'll talk about it later on. But you know how the big old, real big bad of Persona 4 is an army.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of a similar gimmick where the big bad's Mordred, because of course it is.
Yeah. Huh?
So yeah, that's probably what I'd do.
Wasn't it technically Morgana that was the actual big bad, and then Mordred was just her son?
Yeah, but Mordred very quickly turned coat. Mordred was the son of Arthur and Morgan, but Morgan pretended not to be Morgan at the time.
Yeah.
I think I might be getting my lore confused because a lot of things have taken Arthurian legend and twisted it, so I'm not sure what's original and what's not anymore. But that's the version of the myth I'm familiar with. But yeah.
We're going to talk about Persona 4. We're going to mainly be talking about the characters here this time. We touched on it a bit during our Shin Megami Tensei Everything chat, but now we're going to focus on the one that, for me, it was the one that I played, not first, but the one that I enjoyed first.
I think, I don't think, I know. This is the first Persona game I played. Not my first SMT, not by a long shot, but my first Persona. I think I bought this pretty much based solely on either you or Chris's recommendation, so I came to it really late.
Yeah, ditto. I got it on the PS Vita, which was the re-release, which has it has 2 extra social links, and in this they're still called social links. They haven't been renamed to confidants.
I think confidants is such a better name for them, though.
Specifically for Persona 5, yes, because they are actually people who know that you're doing crimes.
I guess, but I don't know. I think confidant just rolls off the tongue a lot easier than social link or S-link. But then again, S-link sounds like such a video game thing, so I can understand the appeal.
Yeah. So I even call them social links in other games, like in Fire Emblem.
I mean, they basically are in Fire Emblem, though.
Yeah, you get to a certain point and then you watch the little cutscene. The difference is in Persona there are 10 of them.
Yeah.
In terms of levels, whereas in Fire Emblem you're lucky to get 4. A lot of the time it just caps out at 3 and you only get the 4th one for the person that you're actually marrying.
I get you, man. But going back to our humble beginnings in the Persona franchise, I bought this game on the PS2 because I didn't have a PlayStation Portable or Vita, because why would I? Who buys that? That's a console for losers.
Yep.
I beat the original Persona 4. I didn't perfect it. I haven't seen the secret ending. I know what it is.
Yep.
And I got Persona 4 Golden the moment it dropped on Steam, and I've rescued Nanako, and that's pretty much where that save file is, and I've not touched it since.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, Golden was apparently it was such a big upgrade from the original that people just went out and bought it again. But then again, they've done this before. For Persona 3, they released the FES update. For Persona 4, it was Golden. For 5, it was Royal. I think for 3, they did 2, because they did the portable one, which was separate again. It didn't have the FES chapter, but it had the female main protagonist version, and that's the one that you can get on the Nintendo Switch right now as well. But yeah,
it's also the one that people bitch about because you can't free roam anymore.
Oh yeah, because it's the PSP version.
But it's also
it was massively downgraded for the PSP, so the only thing where you can free roam is dungeons.
I'll be absolutely real with you. I don't actually care that much for free roaming in Persona games. You don't need it. I don't know why people complain. Well, I do know why people complain, because people are spoiled.
Yeah, because they had free roam in the past and they would like to have it going forward. It's like you take you don't give something to someone, they won't miss it. You take it away and they bitch.
Gestures wildly at SMT4. If you're not in a dungeon, you don't need to free roam. Fuck off.
Yeah, you got points on the map. And I think SMT4 did it even more interestingly, because you actually couldn't go to bits of the map until you'd done certain things, like gone through a dungeon.
Hey, there's this big fuck off red wall in the way. How do I get past it? I don't fucking know.
Do more story.
Sometimes it ain't even do story. Sometimes it's go do this optional dungeon to unlock a different optional dungeon.
Yep.
So fucking dumb. I love it.
And the other optional dungeon just so happens to come out on the other side of the big red wall.
Congratulations, there's a big shortcut now which you didn't need to unlock because it's not it's not free roam.
But yeah, I think we're good. We best start with the main characters. So the main character is Yu Narukami, and he also had the title of Soji Seta in the manga.
There we go. Okay, can I just say this thing drives me fucking crazy with Persona games because they do it for every protagonist.
Yeah, they let you name them and then give them a name.
No, worse than that, they give them 2 names.
Oh yeah. So there's like a manga name, which is the first one that they give you, the first one that anyone has to base their quote unquote canon playthrough on, and then they release the anime, which is the one that they actually keep as the canon one later.
Because what is it in Persona 5? He's either Ren or Akira.
Yeah, yeah. Ren is the one that gets kept because that's the one they use in the anime, and then they use it for I think they use it in the Persona Q as well.
Maybe. I wouldn't know. I really wouldn't. But yeah, it drives me crazy, and it drives me even more crazy that there's not a button to press to just default name your character.
Yeah. Like even when we went to SMT5, I didn't know what the canon name was going to be, so he ended up being Onion Egg.
you do that for a lot of things. You've also told that story on the podcast about 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite awkward actually because I didn't know how Japanese. I should have guessed really, but I didn't know how Japanese Persona 4 was going to be when I first played it. So I just gave the character my name, and it's like, not even 3 minutes in, like it's just like, oh hi Dojima-san, this is Wood-san, and I'm like, oh I fucked up.
Yep. But yeah, he has the persona of Izanagi. He has the wild card, as all of the protagonists do, and his ultimate is Izanami no Okami.
Rick, can I tell you a really funny story about Izanami?
Go ahead.
Izanagi even. Fuck, I got the name wrong. They're so similar, my apologies.
Yeah.
When I was first going through Persona 4, I was messaging Chris, who got me into the game, and I said, he was very surprised when I said, oh, I got rid of his Izanagi almost immediately because he's shit. And Chris was a little bit surprised by this and said, oh no he's not, he's really competitive throughout the game. And I'm like, he's immediately outpaced by anyone, any Persona at all. And then he said, oh well, all you got to do is use the skill cards to keep him relevant. And I went, the fucking what? Now, here's the problem, right, is because I came super late to the franchise, Chris just assumed I was playing Golden, which is a perfectly natural and logical assumption. However, I wasn't. I was playing OG Persona, where that's not a fucking thing.
Yeah, like, best thing you can do is, like, fuse a bunch of good skills down onto him and hope that his stat growths are okay. They're okay!
Which, hey, guess what? I'm not fucking doing that. That's far too much effort.
Yeah. Fusing down is also how I ended up, like, filling out my Persona compendium, because, like, it's real easy to skip, like, individual fusion goals.
Oh, yeah.
As you're just going up through the levels. But yeah, he's, as we say, he's your Fool Arcana wild card. He is a bit of a mimetic sex god. He's got the ability to schmooze all the ladies.
Oh, we're talking about you again?
Yeah, good old Narukami.
Okay. I can't remember when I saw it, but there is a meme of you is the ultimate Chad of the Persona world, because he's the only one of the main protagonists who doesn't have a charm stat. Because he doesn't fucking need it. Put on the sunglasses. Wow!
Yeah, he just... schmooze the ladies. Man, that sounds fucking gross. I'm sorry.
It does, because they're all under 18.
Are they?
In Persona 4 they are. There is not a single romance option that's an adult.
Yeah, because you can't even romance the nurse. She just, like, shuts you down because...
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, Persona 5 hadn't been out yet, so I didn't know that in the future adults would be an option.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, she puts it on so heavy, and then there's a point where she's just like, oh, I'm just playing. It's like, oh, I wasn't, and now my heart is broken, almost as much as my dick.
Yeah. This is the one where, because you are a school child, you're still a school child, all of your romance options are also school children of your age, or there's not many that are less. I think Risei, is the only one I can think of. Risei's
slightly younger, Naoto's slightly younger. I think that's it.
Oh yeah, Naoto's also the year younger.
There's one of the art students is younger. The one that looks like a fucking mutant.
Oh, the music club. Yeah, she looks like an apple.
I don't know why she looks the way she does. It's a very unflattering image.
She looks like she's drawn by a completely different artist, and then she just has the uniform pasted onto her.
It don't look good.
No. And yet you can still romance her. It's weird. But yeah, he does all the romances. He's generally a stand-up guy. He's got a bunch of sarcastic conversation options.
Yeah, third answer, Freak Narukame is what that's called.
Yep.
It's always the third option is the fucking Freakazoid pick.
Yeah. And sometimes it's actually it's obviously meant to be sarcastic. Like getting your finger bit by Teddy, and you go, I think I might cry, and then Chie starts trying to console you as if you're actually serious. But then when they showed that in the anime, he just said it in a really deadpan voice.
I think my favourite weirdo third choice option ever is, which I've not picked by the way because it's fucked up, but it's in Persona 5 where Karakami says she can't be your maid anymore, and you can go, I want all my money back. Which is super. I don't know, you'd have to be pretty fucking heartless to pick that option.
I don't even know what happens if you pick that. I think no one actually has.
Oh, you there's no way she gives you the money back because she would have already spent it.
Oh, yeah. She sent it to, like, other people, which is, the point of her social link. But yeah, Izanagi was the counterpart to Izanami, and Izanami was like, oh, shit, I'm going to kill 1 million people a day. And Izanagi's, well, I'll father 2 million people a day. So let's see who's winning then.
Yeah, I really like that line. It's a very nice way of looking at life and death.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call it nice, but you know what I mean. It's very poetic.
It's a great way of framing the whole life, death, and population expansion angle that just happens over time. When you don't have all the cards on the table in terms of knowing what genetics are and all that, and modern sensibilities.
Making this all more complex than it needs to be, Rick. It's a beautiful line. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's shall. But yeah, do we have anything more to say about Narukami, or should we move on to the party members?
He's got grey hair and it's never explained why.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to assume he's dyed it at some point and then keeps dyeing it, because that's not a natural shade of grey.
No, it ain't. Like, not even for someone who's gone grey. Like,
yeah.
It's a bit too dark for that. He's also got grey eyes.
I don't know. He's just a freak then.
Yeah, I think it's to kind of, separate him from every other character, because no one else is grey like that.
Not even the old lady.
No.
What's her name? Hisato?
I've got her up here real quick. She is Hisano Kuroda.
Oh, I was close, but not quite. Kuroda's very fucking fitting. It's very on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, a morning granny. But yeah, let's go into the player characters. We have Yosuke Hanamura. The first time you meet him, he's in a bin.
Second time you meet him, he's having a bad day, and your character just goes, he's having a bad day, I should leave him alone.
Yep. His personas are Jiraiya and Susan-U.
Yeah, Jiraiya's a little frog thing. I've forgotten the design for Susan-U.
He's a dude with an afro.
Fair.
He's a wind type. He's kind of a bard. He's got daggers, he's got a bit of healing, he's got a bit of physical, he's got a bit of wind. I think he gets one almighty skill at the end if you go into, like, your social link.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I really wouldn't. Yosuke is the first to be benched.
Yeah, because you don't start with Teddy, Yosuke is the first to be benched.
Teddy doesn't even get a fucking look in.
No. You've got, like, waifus by then. Why would you have Teddy?
Oh, fuck the waifus. You've got Kanji.
Yeah, you got waifus and Kanji, and then you get Naoto later on, and Kanji gets benched.
I instantly fell in love with Kanji when he became a party member because he uses a fucking steel chair.
Yes, he does.
I'm just like, he's a fucking wrestling fanboy. Yeah, get in here, fucking Mick Foley.
Yeah, Yosuke is one half of what becomes Ryuji, and Kanji is the other half.
Yeah, when I played Persona 5, when I met Ryuji, I went, oh, it's Kanji. And then I went, after about like one mission, oh, it's also Yosuke. He's both. That don't make no sense, but fuck it.
Yep. And yeah, he's a pretty decent friend type character.
Okay, I will tell you this right now for free. If he wasn't a teenage boy, he would be getting so much shit from me.
What, for being a bit of a perv?
Not being a bit of a perv, but the way he sees women. Very specifically that one character that kickstarts the whole fucking plot.
Yeah, Saki Konishi. Yeah, he's the type that he sees women the way that romance game protagonists see women. Like, insert kindness coins until sex falls out.
Oh, fuck me, you really are right. That's so on the nose. It's gross. I don't like it. Ugh.
Yeah, and like part of the problem is that he's basically a rich boy.
Yeah.
He doesn't behave like it mostly, but he still is one. So he has this thing of, oh yeah, my family's rich. You don't have to treat me like that. But there are times when he just goes, oh come on, let's all just go to the food court at my family's supermarket.
He's not even rich. he's countryside rich.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, the reason why he's got such a good life in the countryside is literally because his dad got fucking moved over there to manage that shit. Because, by the sounds of things, from what we can piece together from the backstory and things that are explicitly said, is his dad was already a manager in the big city, and then it was like, we got this fucking store in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere, do you want to manage it? And they were like, yeah, so they moved, and everything was cheaper, and because everything is cheaper around them, and they're still on the same income, they become richer. Like,
yeah, they're kind of like medium fish in a tiny pond.
Pretty much, man.
And also they choke out all the other businesses, which is part of why Saki Konishi fucking hates him.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because I don't think many people have much love for them. But you look at Yosuke when he's working, and he fucking works hard.
Yes, he does.
Like, I work retail. I can't see anyone who I work with or myself working that hard in retail.
No.
Even my manager doesn't work that hard.
Yeah, and sometimes he ropes you all into it as well.
Yeah, at least he fucking pays you.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, going back to Yosuke having a weird outlook on women, it becomes even weirder when you look at his friendship with Chie. Because he's decent to Chie and doesn't really treat her like an object. But
because he doesn't see her as a woman.
Is that literally the reason? Because I was always torn between either that, which is fucked up in its own way, or Chie has proven countless times that she can and will kick Yosuke's ass.
Oh yes, and has. Like, she got him in the mommy daddy button right in her introduction, pretty much. It's one of those. Chie, as cute as she is, it's very obvious to see. It's very easy to see her as somewhat of a gorilla who kicks things, because she does kick things.
She kicks things very well. It's her fucking weapon in the dungeons.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good segue to Chie.
Sure.
She is a boots user. Her personas are Suzuka Gongan and Haredo no Okami.
I like the second one because she gets a Darth Maul weapon.
And Tomoe is her starting one that looks like is it Bruce Lee?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I can't remember half these designs. I'll tell you this for free: the Persona 4 main protagonist designs, I really didn't care for.
Sure.
Especially compared to the Persona 5 ones. The Persona 5 ones are all pretty distinct, but I don't know, maybe it was the limitations of, by the way, the PS fucking 2.
Yeah. Because they'd done Persona 3 on the PS2 and then 4. Like you say, like, it seems like they took a step down even from 3, where they were all kind of tied together by a theme, whereas in 4 they aren't as much. Like, they're all like Japanese legends, but it doesn't feel as distinct from regular Personas, because like half of these are regular Personas in every other game.
Yeah. Well, Susanoo.
Yeah. That's one. Amaterasu is another one. Takemi Kazuchi is one. Yeah, they're all over the place.
But the reason why, seeing as we're talking about it being a PS2 game, there was that hope that has been thoroughly dashed at this point of the development cycle between P5 and P6 being really short compared to between P4 and P5, because they've got the engine, they've built it, they've done it, everything's ready to go, they can just do it, and no, we're going to milk Persona 5 for about 10 years.
Yeah, to so much that 2 consoles have come and gone. So Persona 5 was on the PS3. Most people played it on the PS4.
Okay, it was on the PS3, but no one fucking bought it for the PS3.
People that played the PS3 version were just like emulating it or pirating it because it was easier. But yeah, the PS4 version is the real deal for that. And yeah, obviously the PS5's out now. So yeah, even if they do a new engine, they're going to have to basically either tart up the old engine really well or just write a new engine.
I don't know, man. Like, Persona 5 looked good. It played good. They don't need to change it.
Yeah, especially if they keep stylistic with it rather than trying to put some realism into it.
I fucking hate the logic of a lot of, and I'm going to blame gamers specifically for this, a lot of gamers, and I'm doing air quotes, always seem to think that the end goal of every single game's art style should be realism. And it's like, no, it doesn't need need to be realistic. Fuck off.
I'm kind of at the halfway house there, is that I think the things should look good.
Yeah, but you just said 2 seconds ago, the artistic way they're going with Persona looks good, so it's fine.
Yeah. As long as you don't just come across a billboard and it's like 1 pixel thin, like, you're good to go.
I can't remember even seeing billboards in Persona 5, so you know.
Yeah. But yeah, GA is a meat fanatic. She's a martial arts film fanatic. She lent one to Yosuke, and he gave it back a bit cracked, and she kicked him in the bollocks for it.
Yeah, but this is another example of how Yosuke doesn't, really appreciate the cost of things.
No, or the value. Like, it might be the kind of thing where, yeah, you can replace that with at a minimal cost, but it might not be that easy to find, especially out in the boonies, like out here, out in Yaso Inaba.
Like, Jesus Christ, bear in mind, when this game came out, it was pre-widespread internet, so much so that you still had the shopping channel.
Yes.
Which I like how they made that work in Persona 5 by, yes, they do have the shopping channel on your old school TV, but also you've got Tanaka's super secret black fucking Sunday deals on the internet. Yeah, and he puts his sunglasses on to hide his identity, yet he also just calls it Tanaka's. Wasn't he a social link in 3?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, he was. He might have been the devil.
That wouldn't surprise me, but fair enough.
Yeah, like shady merchant.
Well, there's a bug that you can get the true ending without, spoiler for Persona 3, without turning the main character to stone by waiting until the last day to talk to Tanaka and max out his social link, because it then skips to the ending.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not canon in any way, shape or form, but it is a bug you can do, and I don't know why you do it, because it breaks the game.
Yep, so we've got Chie, I think, is the only one who's been replaced as a voice actor. So you got to play both. You got to play the PS2 version with Tracy Rooney, and for everyone else, we got Aaron Fitzgerald.
I'll be honest with you, I can't hear a difference between the two.
No, they recast very well. I assume it was because Tracy Rooney was like non-union or something.
Or she was occupied when they needed to voice some new lines. Who knows?
Sure. Like a lot of the things, they just use the original lines.
Yeah, I know, but Persona 4 Golden, they needed to record new lines, is what I'm saying. So if the change happened to for 4 Golden, they were like, we need to record a few lines. We don't want to pay a new voice actress for a few lines, so let's just re-record the whole fucking thing. I don't know, man. I'm just speculating. This is entirely speculation on my part.
Yeah. And I think her two best things in the Hi, I'm Daisy comic are Try the Dragon! And when she's talking to Shadow Teddy, and she brings up for steak. A word that begins with F, because she loves her steak.
Yeah.
She's also a friend of Yukiko Amagi.
Shut up, it's an endearing character trait. I didn't have much of an issue with her laughing. I don't know why they made it seem like a big deal in the Hi, I'm Daisy comic. I assume it was a big annoyance for a lot of the fan base.
I think it's a case of like she does it like 3 times and then drops it for the rest of the game.
Maybe. Also, it's really easy to get Yukiko drunk on nothing.
Oh, yes. But yeah, like I remember the introduction in the comic. It's, I'm Chie Satanaka, and I'm uncomfortable. Yukiko Amagi, I've got her written down in my notes as Yukiko Amagi-dine, because she's the best mage of the entire group, bar none.
I think Yukiko stayed in my party for the entire game.
Yeah, she's got the highest magic, she gets all fire, all healing, and one of her S-Link events gives her some dark too when she's going through a bit of a gloomy patch. The only downside is she's got like 0 defense.
Yeah, but if you've got anyone in your team who's defensive based, you can kind of fix that.
Yeah. Doesn't she use like a fan?
Yeah, she gets wall fans.
Yeah, she does 0 damage.
She does.
Unless she's using magic.
She does token damage, but yeah, if you're attacking with Yukiko, you're either out of SP or you're doing the game wrong.
Or you've got the one of the 5 enemies that are weak. They're weak to physical.
True. Man, seeing as we sort of touched on it just there, can I just say one thing I've always hated about the Persona franchise, specifically as opposed to the SMT games, is boy, do I hate being put on a clock for the amount of days you can be in a dungeon for. There is a clock. This is the amount of days you can visit this dungeon for. And by the way, you can't just infinitely explore it because SP's a real bitch.
They fix it a little bit later with the fox, but it's still not perfect.
The fox doesn't even fix it until you raise his S-Link to a bullshit degree because it costs so much money.
Oh, yo, yeah, and yip.
And, like, it's just too expensive.
Yeah, I had an easy time of it because I was able to fuse a Victory Cry Kaiwan.
Oh, don't get me wrong, when I played Persona 4 Golden and knew what I was doing, I also did that, and that was the basis for every Persona going forward.
Yeah, so I never actually used Kaiwan, but he got Victory Cry, and then he was able to breed it onto every other Persona from then on.
Dude, I nearly melted my laptop breeding that thing. Like, I don't know what it is about Persona 4 Golden, but it makes my laptop go into overdrive as far as heat is concerned.
Yes. But yeah, Yukiko is, like we say, she's a very, I'm going to say she's a very easy character to romance. Not because she's an easy girl, but because she falls in love very easily.
I mean, okay, she does, but she doesn't. She falls in love with the main character because it's the main character, and the main character may as well be the main character of a fucking harem anime. But I wouldn't say she falls in love easily, because, like, she doesn't have any romantic feelings for Yosuke or Kanji or the creepy dude who wants to touch her hair.
Oh, the fish-eyed guy, yeah.
Like Mitsuo, I want to say his name is.
Yeah, Mitsuo Kubo.
Yeah, we're going to have words about that guy later.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that was the creepiest fucking interaction in the game, because I didn't see it coming the first time I played. I don't think many people did.
No. Like, I was expecting the Hi, I'm Daisy thing to be an exaggeration. No, it's not.
Oh, it's really not. It doesn't help that they make him look like a fish. You're right.
Yeah.
But even if he looked identical to you, as in you Narukame, I've got to fucking start calling him Narukame, because saying you is a very weird way of fuck sentence up. Me English do good. But even if he looked like Narukame, he's still just standing there staring while breathing heavily, and it's just like, can we go on a date? And Yukiko lets him down in the gentlest way possible, and he immediately switches to, fuck you, bitch!
Yep.
It's the very definition of good guy syndrome, isn't it? It's like, I really want to go out with you. I'm not interested. I didn't fucking like you anyway. Like, what?
Yeah. It makes my heart hurt.
It's too real. I don't know about you, Rick, but I'm pretty sure most people, but specifically dudes, know that one dude who you don't really like talking to because you're like, oh boy, you're...
I think even worse is knowing girls who have had to deal with multiple of those dudes.
Like, Rick, I've asked girls out before in the past. It's a thing I have done. I'm a socially awkward person. Do you know what I do when a girl says no, which has been most of them?
Okay, cool. Want to get a drink anyway?
Oh, no, I'm not even that fucking cool with it. I'm like, oh, okay, and then I fuck off. I'm like, this is the end of this line of questioning. Hopefully the next time we speak, we are still friendly. I'm going to fuck off now.
I must fuck off now. My shame needs me.
I wouldn't call it shame, it's just like, I've never understood the, I just got rejected, I'm now going to be angry. It's like, you shot your shot, you missed, move on with your life.
Yeah, the worst one is when these guys claim they've been friend-zoned and then automatically hate the person who's friend-zoned them because all they wanted out of that friendship was to bang.
This is my stamp card. Once it's stamped 10 times, you are obligated to fuck me.
Yeah.
I wish I was exaggerating, but that's literally the logic behind it.
Yeah, the erotic game protagonist angle.
Oh, fuck.
But yeah, I'll just flip back a little bit. Yosuke was apparently meant to be a gay option, and they recorded lines for it and then just never published it. Chie has a very platonic social link with you until you get the chance to say, oh, I really like you, and then she blushes and then she likes you back.
Yeah, because you know Akame is basically a fucking harem protagonist.
Yeah, you solve all her problems and then go, oh yeah, by the way, I have a wang. And she goes, oh, shit,
You say you solve all her problems. About the only problem you solve for her is she saw a bug one time and couldn't deal with it. All the other problems she solves for herself. You just happen to be there.
Yeah. You just happen to... You're a spectator for her doing her own, little story.
Oh, jeez.
Yukiko's trying to learn how to cook, and she still can't fucking cook in the story, but she gets better at it during your social link, but only during the social link.
I'll tell you this, right? Yukiko's story is the most baffling to me because it's a weird journey to take. Because she starts off being like, I don't want to inherit the inn. And then the longer you go into a social link, she's like, I still don't want to inherit the inn. And then you get to a certain point where she goes, I'm now going to inherit the inn, but not because my mum wants me to, because I want to. And it's like, you fucking what?
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. I don't want to take over my family's business.
Yeah, the unfortunate reality, Rick, is when you get to a certain volume, Discord and your phone just goes no. So whenever you do that, I'm just not hearing you.
Yeah, no worries. It'll come through on the recording anyway.
I'm not bothered by that. I'm just saying, when you hear me not react, I'm not reacting to you. It's, I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
It was the I don't want to inherit my family's business line.
Right.
But yeah, her social link involves her like going shopping with you, and like she goes, I wonder what someone would like if I made it for them, if I liked them. And then she just looks at you. This is like, okay, she's already aiming for marriage, and you're like 17.
It's very Japanese.
Yeah, and you're even going to leave at the end of the year. It's not like you're going to stick around and get married and have 100 beautiful babies.
I mean, you probably could, though.
Yeah, but you do have to spend your final year of school somewhere else, and then probably university, because these are meant to be intelligent characters, and intelligent characters in Japanese media go to university.
Yeah, but Yukiko ain't. Not intelligent. I mean, she's not going to go to university, because the moment she's done from high school, she has clearly been groomed to take over the inn immediately.
Yes.
Because mum and dad want to both bang and retire.
Create a backup heir. The next one we have is Kanji.
Kanji is my favourite character.
He's very adorable. His dungeon is all about, this is a hot spring for manly men, and it gets to the end, and there's a bunch of really, really buff manly men showing, is this guy gay? And then he's got a real big crush on Naoto, even when he knows that she's a woman.
Okay, here's the thing, right, is I think a lot of people missed the point with Kanji. This is one of the characters who I wanted to talk about specifically.
Sure.
A lot of people like to put it as, Kanji is in the closet, Kanji is secretly gay, Kanji is this. And he could be those things. It's not really relevant to his actual story arc. Because his actual story arc is, he is insecure because he likes unmanly things. He likes embroidery, he likes knitting, things that are not traditionally masculine, and he's afraid people will find that out. And yes, people are right. This could be an allegory for being in the closet, for being homosexual and not wanting people to find out. However, I don't think that's the point.
Yeah, I don't think it's about his sexuality at all, really. Like, his mother owns a fabric store. He knows how to sew. He likes things. He's a big mama's boy, which, you would be if you lived with a single mom, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And he tries to look tough to get people not to notice all of the girly things that he likes.
Well, dude, the main reason, when we first get introduced to Kanji, he's chasing off a bunch of bikers, which is fucking badass in its own right. But the reason he does it is because their bikes are loud and they're bothering his mum.
Yes.
Even Dojima, when he sees the article, it's like, that Kanji kid again. But he's not saying it as in Kanji gets in trouble with the law. It's just like, okay, that dude's got to stop.
Yep. And yeah, he's the tallest. He's the buffest, which doesn't come across in his character art, but in his 3D model it does. And he is the youngest. He's younger even than Risei and Naoto.
Yeah, and everybody... He's also the quickest to give up during study sessions.
Yeah. People are just like, I think multiple times during the story, people are just, really mystified that he's calling nearly everyone senpai.
Yeah.
Just because he's so tall. And in the end game, he dyes his hair back to black and he looks like a completely different character because he's got his glasses on and everything.
He really does. It's like, I remember seeing that end game photograph and I was like, who the fuck? No.
Yeah. He don't look good when he's not, punked up.
But yeah, I'll say it now because I'm going to preface it for the other character whose themes I want to talk about. One of the beauties of storytelling is always the ability to have multiple meanings behind the same thing. And while I don't agree that Kanji is repressing his homosexuality, because I don't think he is, if that's what your interpretation is, I think it's more than okay to have that be your interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
They also fucking really do hammer it a bit in his dungeon, don't they? With all the fucking homoeroticism.
Yes, they do. And then, immediately after you recruit him, you go on the camp, don't you?
Yeah, and fucking Yosuke's like, wait, I didn't know you liked girls, Kanji. And Kanji's like, what the fuck's that supposed to mean, senpai?
Yeah, because Kanji didn't go through his own dungeon.
No, he didn't, did he?
No, nobody goes through their own dungeons.
Yeah, Chie's in a weird spot where she kind of does, but we also meet and beat Shadow Chie within 2 seconds, so it doesn't really count. Also, it's technically Yukiko's dungeon.
Oh, it's definitely Yukiko's dungeon. Chie's shadow has little bits of voice clips from Yukiko, but they're created by the Chie shadow.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, how does does Chie see Yukiko? And then she's like, no, I fucking don't. And then she kicks the shit out of a shadow.
Dude, I did like the joke of, I think it's when they actually reach Yukiko's shadow where it's just like, that's not true. And it just cuts to Narukami going, guys, should we? I'm not you. Oh, fuck.
You're not me.
So in case you didn't know, guys, literally the trigger point for most boss fights is you basically unlock the limiter of the shadow version of characters by saying, you're not me. and for some reason, kicking their ass is then the impetus for, I'm pretty sure I used that word wrong, but fuck it, for the character going, oh, I guess I do think like that sometimes, and then they merge and it's all happy. But it's a very dumb way, not even dumb, convoluted is the word I'd use for justifying these boss fights.
It's weird that it's so formulaic.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it working that way like once, but it's weird that everyone goes through the same, like, it's kind of like Stages of Grief, but not. They go through the exact same process without any input from anyone else.
Like with Persona 5, it's forgivable because it is literally a formula. You get told straight away, this is how you do a change of heart. You need to find the artifact and steal the artifact. Steal the artifact, then there's a change of heart. You know, there's a process to it. But yeah, it's very jarring is almost how I'd describe it.
And then in Persona 5, there's the other side of it that awakening you to your persona is like you're in the metaverse and you reach a breaking point of get fucked, and that's when you finally like awaken the wings of rebellion and get your own persona and your own threat costume. But yeah, the next two kind of go together. Teddy, he's with you from the beginning, but he only gets his persona in this next dungeon.
Yeah, but who cares about Teddy? It's Rick's favorite waifu.
Yay, Rise!
Rick, I fucking hate this dungeon.
Oh yes, it's not fun.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know what the number one reason is? The number one cause of me hating this dungeon is.
Is it the music?
It's the fucking music. It's the worst piece of music in the fucking game, and it feels like it goes on forever because this is every dungeon is the longest dungeon up until the point you've gotten to it.
Yeah, I kind of tried to block it out, but I also kind of remember hearing the same voice bit over and over again that's not even sung. It's just like spoken in a breathy, whispery tone.
Is that what it is? Is it just because you hear the same fucking words over and over again? Because I think this is the only dungeon theme that has quote-unquote lyrics.
Yeah, I think the Heaven one does as well.
Yeah, but like the Heaven one's like orchestral choir, so it don't really count.
But yeah, it's got lyrics, it's got a really repetitive backing track, and the lyrics are very repetitive because they probably have to start over again after every fight that you have. But even then, I think it's a short loop. It's like, it's not the best.
It's so awful. Like the fights themselves are fine. I distinctly remember that the Teddy boss fight kicked my shit in.
Oh yes, it's kind of meant to. Like it's her. It's the way that Rise proves that she's really good as a navigator by telling you, okay, I'm going to tell you when Teddy's going to do something. Defend. And that's pretty much the only time you defend in the whole game, pretty much. Because every other time you might as well just attack, get a weakness, get a down, get an all-out attack.
Oh, that's not true. The boss fight in Heaven is one where you want to defend fairly regularly.
Okay, yeah, that's the one.
I'll tell you this, I remember 2 boss fights kicked my shit in original Persona, and that was Yukiko, because boy was I not prepared, and it was also Teddy, because boy was I not prepared, and in Persona 4 Golden the Mitsuo fight kicked my ass as well, but that's because I didn't know that the gimmick had changed.
Yeah. Weirdly, you don't really get a good ice user, because you got Teddy, who's like, okay, he's better than Chie at using ice, but he's still worse than Yukiko at being a maid. He's worse than Yukiko at being a healer, and like the only thing he can really do is he's got like a couple of debuffs and a couple of things that remove your own debuffs.
Teddy doesn't get a look in on my team.
Yeah. I also gave him the costume where he's just in his human form.
I don't blame you, because human Teddy is hot.
Yeah, and he's just like in the dungeons, just going from one leg to the other as if he's pissed, because he uses the same animations as mascot Teddy.
Oh dearie me. But yeah, I think ice is one of the few elements where you don't have to really be that bothered by it, because fuck it, if you're not running Beelzebub at the end of the game, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, like fire is the one that you never have to worry about because you've got Yukiko.
Yes.
The other ones you probably want your own answer to. And yeah, Yukiko, you can get away with not healing, but if you do have healing, then you can do some healing in between battles, and then just pick up the slack with your own victory cry.
True.
But yeah, I like Rise. She's a retired idol.
Well,
or
she's on a break.
Yeah, she's on hiatus. She's burnt out with idol work as Reset, and she's now helping out with her grandma's tofu shop. She falls in love with the protagonist very, very easily.
Yes, because Narukami is a harem protagonist.
But also because he's not pursuing her as an idol. He just sees her as a human being, which for someone who has been sexualized as part of her job is kind of a big deal.
Also, just a gentle reminder in case people need it, the idol industry is still evil to this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting point that you bring up, because Yosuke is immediately like, oh my god, I'm in love with you, Reset, and Reset is like, okay, and Kanji's actually doesn't seem that bothered either, but Kanji is Kanji, and he doesn't really care.
Oh yeah. And she's got some really good voice actresses. She's got Rie Kugimiya in Japanese, she's got Laura Bailey in English, and when they can't get Laura Bailey, they use Ashley Birch, Molly McGee.
I don't know any of these names. I'm joking. I don't know the Japanese one, but that's because I don't follow Japanese voice acting.
Yeah, Rie Kugimiya is the token tsundere. So this is one of the ones where she breaks type by not being tsundere at all. She's all dere.
Yeah, I still don't really know any tsunderes off the top of my head.
Okay, if there's a short girl with twin tails, it's probably her.
It's bothering me, Rick, that you're not giving me a single example, but okay, let's move on.
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, Rise becomes your navigator, and then you get Teddy, but then the last party member you get is Naoto.
This is my best girl.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the themes of Naoto, everybody, because
yes.
This is another one which people like to get confused, and I will give my same disclaimer for Kanji in, if that's the way you want to interpret a story, then fine, I disagree with it, because a lot of people seem to think that Naoto is actually trans and wants to become a man, and I think they're missing the point, because they spell it out quite clearly in the story what Naoto's issue is, and Naoto's issue isn't she wants to be a man because she has an issue with her actual gender. She wants to be respected in her field.
Yes, she wants to be respected the way that any man would be in the same field with the same ability.
Which I think everyone can agree is just as much of an issue as people who have gender dysmorphia. In fact, if anything, it's probably a bit more common.
Oh, it's definitely more common. Like, the whole thing about the wage gap is just a dissonance between, yes, the company says they're going to pay everyone equally. No, they actually don't.
Well, again, that's getting a bit more high level than we actually need to get, because it's a lot more simple in Naoto's case, and that is, Naoto is a detective. Other detectives don't see her as good of a detective, even though she's proven time and time again that she is as good, if not better, because one, she is a woman, two, because she is young.
Yes.
She's very young. She's young. The only person younger than her in the team is Kanji, I believe.
Yes. She is known as the Detective Prince. Her grandfather was a detective as well, and helps her regain her mojo through the social link.
Yeah, and
which is real sweet, actually. And I like it.
The grandpa doesn't quite allow for your usurpation of the caper to reveal your love.
Yeah. Here's the point where the only reason that I didn't confess to her during that sequence was that I felt that it broke the flow.
Okay, so the reason I didn't is because in Persona 4 Original, I was already with Chie because I didn't know Naoto was a thing. So I was like, well, I'm not going to break Chie's heart, but I do think Naoto was a more fun character. So hey, guess who I romanced in Persona 4 Golden? You get some in the end game. You got some alternate voice lines. You got some alternate character models as well.
Yeah, in her last social link, she asks if you're romancing her. She asks, should I keep my voice the way it is, or should I go to a high voice to sound more girly? And I think everyone picks stay the way you are because you don't need to change, but you can just choose. Oh yeah, talk more girly, and then in the Christmas date and the Valentine's date where it's just the two of you, you get the higher voiced girly lines.
She also wears a dress.
Oh yes, she does.
Whereas she'll keep her traditional suit if you tell her to stay the way she is, which I think it's baffling to romance someone and then immediately go, oh, by the way, can you be different?
Yeah, it is.
It's just baffling to me.
By the same token, it could be seen as her saying, yeah, can I be a girl around you?
Well, it's one of those where I was pretty sure there was a third option in there, and the third option, if there wasn't a third option, there should have been a third option, which should have been do what you feel comfortable with, because I don't give a fuck. Naoto's Naoto. But,
yeah.
I don't know.
And if that means she's one for one and the other for the other, great, because that means she's comfortable in both.
Sure.
But oh well.
One of the weird gags that they decided to do with Naoto, which I don't know why they did. Well, I do know why they did it, because it's Japan and I think it's funny. But canonically, Naoto is the bustiest girl, but she binds.
Oh, yes, she does. In Arena, part of the thing in Arena that makes them fight is that the shadows around the area make whatever you say sound like the most offensive thing to the person that you're saying it to.
Okay.
I think Akihiko says something, and what she hears is, what a waste of meat.
Gross.
Yeah, it is rather gross, and that's why they fight. And then when you have the fight, you get to hear what they actually say, and it's a lot less offensive, is what he actually said.
Isn't he a boxer?
Yeah, he is.
I can't think of a more, unfair matchup. Here's a boxer. Here's a girl with a gun.
Yeah.
Like, boxers are super badasses, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they can beat gun.
No. Speaking of, Persona 3 had bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Piercing was for things like spears and guns. Persona 4 just has physical damage, so even Naoto with the gun just does physical damage.
Yeah, that's fine. They never needed all three, because even in SMT, they usually only had slashing and pierce.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they got rid of pierce in the most recent game. It's been a minute.
Maybe so.
It's been a minute, I can't remember. Because they got rid of the gun.
Sure.
So I don't think that you can just have piercing damage now, because it was just a pointless addition. Exclusively used to down flyers.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Persona 5 definitely still had pierce, because guns were definitely a big thing in that game.
Yeah. You got your gun that reloaded every fight.
Well,
so it was basically just
in Royal.
A one-shot thing. Yeah, in Royal it reloads every fight.
Yep.
It's basically just a one-shot of, you shoot the thing, you do the gun damage. Good luck doing gun damage any other time, because you're going to need to have a persona that does gun damage as a skill, i.e. be Haru or be the main character.
Yeah, but that also does damage to you in that game.
Yeah.
Boy, was that a weird
same
way
in
of
this
doing
as
it,
well.
Whatever. I'd never understood that, but ayo, whatever.
Well, same in this. Physical skills use your HP.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's weird.
Yeah, I guess it's also the reason that Kanji has way more health, so that he's got essentially more MP for physical skills.
Yeah, man, Persona 5 Royal got broken for me because they gave you all the DLC personas for buying the game, and I think I forget which character it is, but it's like a level 91 persona, and it starts with not an almighty skill. Sorry, it's a heavy damage all physical attack against the opponents, which takes about half of your health, which is a big chunk. However, once it levels up once, it gets the ability that restores your health to full after every fight, which meant half the game was just piss easy for me.
Yeah, there's the other one of that. You can actually just use Izanagi no Okami. He's got the almighty skill that hits everything, hits them like 2 to 3 times, and yeah, like you say, level him up once, he gets Victory Cry as well. They nerf it in that so that only the protagonist gets Victory Cry, whereas in 4, I believe everyone gets the full restore.
No, not in Golden.
Okay.
I can't remember Persona 4. I never had Victory Cry in Persona 4, so, I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Naoto got her own game, and I forgot to research this before I...
Yeah, you told me it was a visual novel akin to Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, which sounds like an absolute slam dunk for the character and the personality.
It sounds like it fits the character, but it also sounds boring as fuck.
Well, I liked Phoenix Wright, so maybe I'm biased.
Yeah, but Phoenix Wright was a comedy.
True.
I can't picture Naoto bumblefucking her way through a case, and if so, that would be a disservice to the character.
Yeah, I guess she's more along the lines of the Edgeworth games, where you're like the Edgeworth games, you do like explore the zones and try to collect evidence and prosecute. They do have some goofy things going along, but Edgeworth is he's the straight man, and that's what makes it funny. Yeah. So if funny things are happening, they happen to him, and he just gets flustered. I can see Naoto actually working the same way.
Whatever. If they released it, I'd probably on Steam and made it easy to play, I'd probably give it a go, but it doesn't tickle my bollocks the same way Persona games normally do.
And that's it for the playable characters.
Cool.
So now we're going to get into some of the social links and bosses. So I think the two most important social links are Nanako and Ryotaro Dojima.
Yeah, that's fair. Because they've got time limits.
Yes, they do. If you don't do them by a dungeon near the end of the game, they are locked off. Well, they're locked off either way, so complete them before that. In Golden, you do get a little bit of time in the new bits of time that you have, like in around Valentine's Day or whatever. But other than that, yeah, you're limited in time, and the game doesn't tell you this.
No,
you're just expected to to have succeeded in advance.
I was incredibly happy with boosting Nanako's social link for 2 reasons. 1, it's Nanako, she's adorable, she deserves to have an awesome big bro. 2, her social link is Justice, which I really, really, really like the angel designs in Persona, and guess what? Most of them are Justice type.
Yes. Yeah. It's great having someone that you can level up with Justice. Like in
5, it's fucking
5 regular.
Oh, it was so annoying in regular.
Yeah, in regular it's just time based. You have to wait until the point where you just get it given to you. In 5 Royal, it's still kind of like that.
Sort of, but
things are time gated.
You get hangout events with the dude though in Royal, so
yeah. Both Nanako and Dojima they take a while to open up as social links. Nanako in particular, because you're a silent protagonist, she's a bit shy.
Yeah.
And it's not for a while before she actually opens up to you. And as soon as she does, you take her to Junez because that's where she likes going, because every day's great at your Junez.
God damn, is that not the most depressing thing ever though?
Yeah, the most popular song at school is the fucking jingle from the fucking shop, and apparently that's a thing in a lot of Japanese shops. You've been, so you'll be able to tell me better than I can say from secondhand knowledge.
Fuck me, no.
They will just play their own theme tune over and over again.
Don Quixote had one.
Yeah, don donkey ote. Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is I didn't really go into many corner shops, because if I wanted a drink, there was vending machines everywhere, which is so cool, and I wish every country did that, but whatever.
Yeah. Part of that is because Japanese summer is brutal, and if you don't have liquid somewhere close by, you might pass out.
Fun. I went in February time, so I had no idea that was a thing. In February time, it's not that far different from Britain, to be honest.
No.
Which suits me just fine.
Yeah, apparently it's just amplified Britain. So when it's cold, it's colder. When it's hot, it's hotter.
That's fair. And yeah, the only shop we really spent much time in was 7-Eleven, because it was down the road from our hotel room, so it's where we got breakfast from.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also what kept us in a steady supply of Coca-Cola while we were staying there. It's nice.
Good stuff.
nice to have a familiar drink. Don't get me wrong, we tried some weird Japanese beverages. I bought a lot of Japanese drinks based solely on the icon on the can.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck it, I'll give
it a go. Did you try Ramune?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
It's the one with the ball, and you got to. There's an art to drinking it through the ball, because if you just tip it, then the ball gets in the way and blocks you off from drinking it.
Fun. I can tell you, I tried Kirin beer.
Oh yes, you can get that here as well.
Well, fucking hell, I didn't know that. It was an awful beer. It tasted like shit. I wouldn't recommend it. But I bought it because it was a bronze can, and it had a picture of a Kirin on it. And I'm not joking. It looked like the Monster Hunter monster. I was like, that's cool. Shame it tastes like. I wish I kept the can, to be honest. I took pictures of rappers just to send pictures to my mum and dad, because I knew my dad was interested. I don't think my mum gave a fuck. But a part of me, I know it's really worrying behaviour, but I really just wanted to clean off wrappers of things and bring them home.
Yeah.
But I also know that's borderline psychotic behaviour.
Yeah, apparently, if you habitually pick wrappers off bottles, it means you're sexually frustrated.
Well, I don't do that anyway, but why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that a correlation, or is that a causation, or is it just correlation? That's the question, right?
Yeah, we don't know. But yeah, if you complete Nanako's social link, she'll joyfully say, "I want to marry Big Bro."
What?
And depending on whether you've maxed out Dojima or not, he'll either humour her because it's just a funny thing that a kid said, or he'll just immediately become worried.
He should become worried. I've said it before, Narukami is a fucking harem protagonist, and as we all know, all harem protagonists must have one person in their harem who's related, but not by blood. Although I think Nanako is related by blood. She's also 8.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Dojima is your actual uncle, so yeah, she is related by blood. Dojima is very hard worked. Yeah. So sometimes he'll just come home in a fucking mood.
Man, we didn't touch on it with Nanako, but yeah, she's got it rough because she knows how to do everything around the house because Dojima's most of the time not there.
Yeah, and no one ate dinner that night.
Get me some sausages!
Man, that's my favourite part of the outtakes. just the This is the Dojima abridged the Hi, I'm Daisy dub Dojima just doing a reel of shit. Like, Nanako, what are you doing? I'll fucking punch you in the gut. Get me some sausages.
Yeah, one of those is a lot more funny than the other one.
Yep. But yeah, he drinks. He takes Adachi out drinking. Normally, he's saying "Shut up, Adachi," without in not so many words, but yeah. And babysitting Adachi as a rookie detective.
How many times does Adachi just straight up tell you information on the case? All the times. Oh, that's how many.
Like 4, but like that's 4 too many.
1 is an accident. Twice is you're incompetent.
3 is on purpose.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because near the end he's really trying to fucking steer you towards fuckface.
Namatame.
Yeah. So much suspicious.
And he always seems to know like just too much about what you might do with that information. But yeah, that's a good segue into Adachi himself. He's only a social link in Golden.
Yeah, and you can fucking game over the game.
Yeah. There's a new ending. It's called the Accomplice ending. Spoiler: Adachi is the villain.
Yeah.
He starts with the Jester Arcana, and once you level it up to a certain point, and it's obvious that he's the villain, it becomes the Lust Arcana in Japan and the Hunger in the West.
Yeah, I can see why they changed that because that's sinister, but at the same time, Adachi is sinister. His motivation for the first killing was, "You wouldn't fuck me."
Yeah, I think it was for all of them as well. Like the first killing was the Enka singer, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first one was you got the identity right. You wouldn't fuck me. The other ones were, well, she probably won't fuck me. Man, fuck bitches.
Yeah, like he kills. Apparently, the reason that he kills Saki Konishi is because she wouldn't accept his advances while she was in a questioning room in this police station.
That's weird.
So he just chucked her in the TV, and this is the point where he knew that this killed people by that point.
Yeah, he didn't know how, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, so those are the only ones that he actually chucks in the TV world. Every other victim is from Namatame, trying to protect people.
Yeah, but let's not mince words here. Adachi is 100% orchestrating Namatame. Like, Namatame doesn't know, but all of the victims are being picked by Adachi.
Yeah. He's making it so that it's one of those, when someone shows up on the Midnight Channel, it's because they're in the cultural zeitgeist. A little bit of a preview to Persona 5, where the metaverse is very definitely the cultural zeitgeist. And that's when Namatame goes, "Oh, well, I better protect this person because the other two have died." And because these people keep surviving, Namatame thinks, "Oh, I must be doing it right."
Yeah, because the first person was his wife, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah, the reporter.
It was either wife or affair haver. I forget which one.
Yeah, it might have been the affair, but so his wife was the reporter, and he was having an affair with the Enka singer.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah,
that's just general memory. But yeah, Adachi has some goofy moments where he's trying to appear less threatening. It's all an act, and when he shows up in later games, he's still basically technically still in prison, but he gets to do a bit of TV world stuff / metaverse world stuff.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Because apparently the Midnight Channel is an Inaba exclusive thing, but does that mean that in theory can Adachi just say fuck it if there's a TV in his cell? It's like, I'm out, peace.
Yeah, just go to the telly and then do whatever he likes, pop out somewhere else. Although I think you have to pop out the same one you went in.
I don't think that's correct. Oh, well, okay, here's what it is. I think you pop out the same one you went in, but I don't think you have to exit from the same point.
Oh yeah, you don't have to exit from the same point inside the TV world, but you pop out the same telly that you went in through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that Teddy knows how to get out. Other people don't, so you can't just use it as like a teleportation network.
No.
If you could, then as soon as Nanako is found kidnapped, how many people would just look to find a TV somewhere in the area and just go straight there that day? But no, you have to go to fucking bed and then do it the next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, other social links. Margaret, she is the Velvet Room attendant.
She's the secret boss.
Yeah, they always are. Like, you can always do a boss fight against the Velvet Room attendant, where they just are like ridiculously OP.
Yeah, but I didn't know that because this was my first Persona game, and I also never played New Game Plus, which they're always New Game Plus exclusive.
Okay.
And rightly so.
Yes. If you do anything more than resist, she'll count you as cheating and will just almighty you until you're dead.
Damn.
So if you are immune or absorb any element, she's just going to kill you. So the best you can do is just bring Izanami no Okami, which also is New Game Plus, because he resists everything.
Right. But
yeah,
just
she's
like,
a bit of
oh, go on.
I was going to say, she's a bit of a troll, but mostly she's just like this really bored-sounding older attendant than the other ones, because obviously in 5, it gets taken to an extreme because you've got 2 children and a third child who's also a child. But even in 4, it was a much younger-looking attendant.
I think you meant 3.
Yeah. Sorry, in 3, it's a much younger-looking attendant. She's the oldest presenting attendant.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of those things where I always got the vibe of immature kids from the twins, but when she became Lavenza proper, she seemed like a proper adult. Didn't look it, but
oh yeah.
The thing I love.
Oh, apparently she's explicitly the older sister of Elizabeth and Theodore.
Fair enough. I assumed all the attendants were related, to be honest.
Yeah. They seem to be just like constructs of Igor, don't they? So
yeah, Margaret's social link involves the same thing that every Velvet Room attendant's social link involves, and that is, hey, fuse this specific persona with this specific skill. However, I feel like Margaret has a bit more fun with it because she has you. I've told this before. I think it might have even been on our last Persona episode where she has you fuse an elephant-looking persona, and she looks at it and goes, no, its nose is still smaller than Master's.
Yeah, this is the last game that Igor actually has a fully recorded set of voices as well, because he passed away between 4 and 5.
Yeah, because it took 8 years.
Yeah.
Did it take 8 years? I feel it took at least 8 years. Let's find out.
It sounds about right. Like, it took a long fucking time.
Persona 4 original released in 2008. Ooh, I put in person 4, but it still know what I meant. Persona 5 released in 2016. 8 years exactly. Fuck me. That was a fucking lucky guess.
But Marie is also golden only.
Yeah, I don't know much about Marie. I didn't max out her link.
Yeah, she starts as the person who just is getting a lift in the Velvet Room car. I wonder if there's something more to her than being a person, because, she can go to the Velvet Room.
Yeah, she's also got the fucking Arcana of Aeon, which is another one of those weird Arcanas that exists only in one game.
Yeah, her personas from that social link just get made into normal things. So her ultimate is Kaguya, and in 5, that's just a moon persona at like level 16 or so.
Oh.
So you know what the final persona is now, because you've probably used it with... she is rather prone to blending words together without space bars.
Yeah, because she doesn't know how humans work.
Yeah, like stupid jerk face, I hate you. She also doesn't know what steak is. So when she asks Chie what it is... Oh, sorry. When she asks you what it is, she goes, for steak.
Oh, yeah,
and then she brings it up later.
And she just assumes it's called that.
Yeah. This is beef. It's for steak. It comes from beef steak. and she brings it up later. Yes, we had the for steak for sandwiches. She's also another romance that's rather heavily pushed. You technically don't cheat on anyone if you go with her, because she's not one of the she's not one of the Valentine's encounters.
What flimsy reasoning. You don't technically cheat. You don't take her on a Valentine's date, so it's not really two-timing, says the two-timer.
Yeah. But her actual identity is another aspect of Izanami.
Yeah, that tracks.
She is the extra final boss. So you get an extra dungeon that's hers, and then you get to fight her as the extra final boss. So as an aspect of Izanami, it's basically the part of Izanami that was married to Izanagi while she was still alive.
Yeah, I saw that coming. I didn't know that was a thing, because I've not beaten Golden. So, yeah, but it makes sense, because, of course she wants Akami's dick. She thinks it's her husband.
Yeah, whereas the rest of Izanami that you see is when she's dead, because, it's in the past. And I think she's fun, but, other people might not agree. Going down the list of confidants, the Fox, I basically never leveled up Fox, because by the time I got the Fox, I already had Victory Cry.
That's valid, but, you have to max out every S-Link to get the secret ending.
Do you? Okay.
Yes, they only stopped doing that in Persona 5.
Okay, yeah, apparently I've not gotten the secret ending then.
Well, you must have done if you fought Izanami. The game ends after Adachi. Well, not Adachi, but the boss that comes immediately after after Adachi.
Amino Sagiri, yeah.
Yeah, whereas the final boss of the game with the secret ending is Anami.
I must have done it on New Game Plus then. Like, I remember nothing about the fucking fox.
Well, because the fox isn't
just a bunch of fetch quests.
Yeah, because the fox isn't an S-Link. You do a bunch of fetch quests, and every time you turn it in, the fox howls and then goes thank you. You don't even waste a day. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. You waste a day when you turn it in, but you don't waste a day doing the request. It's very weird.
Yeah, and then it just ranks up your hermit social link.
Yeah, which makes it cheaper to heal in dungeon. Which, as you say, if you've got Victory Cry, is pointless.
Yeah, and then at the end, the fox comes along and it has all its babies, doesn't it?
I didn't fucking know that bit, but okay.
Next one is the Strength Arcana. This is the first one that you get a choice over. You get a choice of soccer or baseball.
You get a choice, but
basketball. Sorry.
You get a choice, but it also doesn't matter because both of them show up in every single S-Link scene.
Yeah, because they're friends with each other.
Meanwhile, if you go to the drama and band club, they are exclusive.
Yeah. Koichijo is voiced by disgraced voice actor Vic Mignogna.
Why is he disgraced? Was he a pedophile?
No, he apparently hugged people a bit too hard, and there was a big old voice actor fight between him and Monica Rial, which is a shame because I liked both of them.
What do you mean? What do you mean he hugged people too hard?
Yeah, he hugged people a bit too sexually at fan events.
Right. Okay. So call him a creep. Don't say he hugged people too hard. Say he groped people without permission, aka sexual assault.
Yep. And people were willing to be on his side until he started appearing on podcasts with bikini-clad ladies, and he's the only guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of showing.
Right. So he sexually assaulted co-workers and fans, and then people wondered why he fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So yeah. It's okay to enjoy things that a creator is part of, as long as you separate the creator from the work.
Well, I didn't know that. Not that it matters anyway, because he's the least interesting out of the two, because Daisuke's way cooler.
Yeah.
But that might also be because we're British and we care more about football.
Well, I really don't care about football, so
I'll tell you what.
I did go with Koichijo.
I leant more towards Daisuke because he looked stronger.
Sure. For the Strength Arcana, yeah, you kind of want that, don't you?
Like, no offense to the character designer for Ichijo, but yeah, he looks incredibly spindly and weak, which is weird because I've seen basketball players and they've got quite thick arms.
Yeah, he looks like a more smiley version of Yusuke, doesn't he, really, to a degree?
He looks like a younger, smilier Adachi, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, with blue hair. Yeah, okay. I get it. We got Ai Ebihara.
I kind of like Ai's story.
Yeah, she's a former fat girl, and now she's just a pretty girl, and people, like, fawn after her for being a pretty girl and don't remember that she used to be a little fatty.
It's not even that, though, is it? It's worse than that, because they completely... Most of them don't realise that she used to be a larger girl and unpopular, but now that she looks the way she does and she acts the way she does, and she does act, at least on the surface, as a spoilt brat. Let's not mince words.
Mm-hmm.
But there are horrible rumours about her basically fucking old strange men for money.
Yeah, compensated dating is a thing that happens in Japan. It's basically where normally a schoolgirl will go on dates, and just like an escort in real life, it's not expected that you do anything sexual, but it's expected that you do something sexual.
Well, I could have gone with my entire life without knowing that, Rick. But yeah, either way, like there are rooms, and while they're using cutesy language because it's somehow Persona has always straddled that line of not quite being an 18, mostly because they don't use vulgar language, but they are very good at using language in a way that implies more sinister things that are definitely happening, but they don't show it or tell it explicitly, so it's okay. But yeah, a lot of the rumours are she's sucking off old men behind the bike sheds for 50 quid.
Yeah. And she's not. She's just a bit of a bitch, but
but I don't blame her when everyone around her is talking behind her back, and she knows they're talking behind her back because you see her just sort of standing in places, sometimes not even potentially meaning to eavesdrop, but she's gonna hear it, and
yeah, because these people are just making no attempt to be quiet about it.
And my heart broke a little bit when you get to the S-Link that isn't just about being a delinquent, and you're like, hey, what those people said was not cool, and she goes to a default defense mechanism of fuck off, basically. But it's like, boy, that's just sad.
Yeah. On the plus side, she does get a little bit of focus in the anime where she's basically a rival for both Narukami's affections to Yukiko and for Koichijo's affections to Chie. But Chie has no idea that I even exists.
Yeah, because
Oh, sorry, Yukiko has no idea that she exists. I just doesn't see her as a rival.
Well, yeah, because the two don't really hang out. They don't hang out in the same circles by any stretch of the imagination. So I can see that being a thing. The weird part of Ai's storyline is, I believe it's around rank 5, where she's like, hey, insert sport club guy, I kind of think he's hot. Do you think maybe you could pretend to be my boyfriend to make him jealous and get attention? And you have to say, if you want to romance Ai, you have to say no.
Yeah, because doesn't her social link break at like level 8 if you try and romance her too early?
Her social link can break at like 5 different points. I think she's one of the the easiest arcana to reverse, because all you have to do is say one option that's a fumble, and she's just like, fuck you. She is also on the flip side easy to fix from being reversed, but if you break her, that's it. The social link's dead at, like, as you say, rank 8 or maybe even rank 7.
Yeah, you got a broken link and that's it. You can't just go back to it. Naoto, you can reverse at one point.
Oh yeah.
If you say the wrong thing towards the end, you reverse the social link, but like one more day with her can like set it back on track, and you can max her out. It would be really shitty if you could break a social link with a party member, which means that they just never get their ultimate persona. So that's why they they made it reverse rather than break.
Yeah. If you don't max S-Link with a party member, for those listening, that means you can't get their enhanced persona, and if you don't get their enhanced persona, that usually means you don't have a way to compensate their weakness.
Normally it's like evade weakness, isn't it?
Usually. I think Naoto's in a weird spot where she doesn't actually have a weakness.
Yeah, so I think they just let her evade physical or something. And then for the top level one, the evades become like absorb, so they become completely devoid of weakness. But then, we get to the clubs. You've got Yumi Ozawa from the drama club,
which everyone picks because the music club girl is a freak.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but she is the most poorly designed character in the game.
She looks younger than Nanako, but with longer legs, and that's about it. Like, she looks so weird.
She looks a bit like a duck.
She looks a bit like Krillin wearing a wig.
But yeah, as we said, you join the drama club, and you should join the drama club because, one, Yumi is way better designed as a character, and also her storyline is, oh boy, it's a rough one.
Yes. It goes from the drama club to, oh no, father's dying.
Yeah, except the difference is she doesn't actually like her dad because her dad walked out on them, but her mum is in the entirely different camp of, yeah, but I still love him though, and Yumi can't understand this, and I don't blame her for not understanding, because love is a weird thing and makes you act insane. It's like Tidus's mother all over again.
Yep. But yeah, she's... I remember in Hi, I'm Daisy, it was a case of, who wants to help me with my self-esteem issues? And I hate my dad. You decide not to join a club.
Yeah, well, if you don't join a club, you get fucking arsehole McGree shouting at you.
Yeah. Isn't it just Elizabeth says, yeah, you should have joined a club, dickhead, but oh well.
Well, it's worse than that. You get the fucking dickhead with the horrible buck teeth who looks like a caricature telling you, join a club, shitheel.
Yeah, Morooka, yeah.
What's his name? Moa Buttface or something people call him.
Yeah, Kinshiro Morooka. They call him King Moron.
That's the one. The character who got murdered by not Adachi or Naotame.
Yeah, he got murdered by Fishman.
Which I don't blame him.
No. I don't even think he interacted with him. I think it's just a case of, I want some victim, and nobody's going to miss this guy. And then nobody missed that guy. Like, even at school, they're like, oh, he's dead. Anyway.
The only wrench that throws into the storyline is the fact all the characters are like, why the fuck did he get murdered? He wasn't on the TV. Mitsuo's just a psychopath.
Yeah. We rescued the person that we needed to rescue. Oh, somebody else got murdered. Oh
man. Wasn't like the unwritten implication is that if Yukiko went with that dude.
Oh yes. Oh no. But yeah, we get the next character. Naoki Konishi. It's the brother of Saki Konishi. He looks like Beavis.
I never got this character in my first playthrough because of course I fucking didn't.
Yeah, you have to go to the alcohol shop, which you're not allowed into anyway. And yeah, he's apparently childhood friends with Kanji.
Well, here's the actual...
Which makes sense because their two shops are basically on the same road, so it makes sense.
Well, here's the actual problem, Rick, is to unlock Naoki Konishi as an S-Link, you have to talk with him 3 times, as well as have a rank 3 in understanding. And the first 2 times you talk to him, he doesn't have a giant question mark above his head to make him look any different from the rest of the faceless NPCs.
Yep.
So I can't talk about this S-Link at all, so, go wild.
Yeah, it's basically just he's getting over his his sister's death, but also he absolutely hates that the only thing people do is like give him sympathy, because partly most of the time he feels it's insincere, but also it kind of like ignores the person that he is. All people see him as is being the kid whose sister got murdered.
Okay, it's not entirely a one-for-one, but I do have a bit of a story here in that I kind of appreciate where he's coming from a little bit, because when my dad passed away, I had 2 weeks off work because that's just straight up the policy at work. And when I went back to work, it was about another 3 weeks later where a woman who I didn't know, here's the thing about my family, a lot of people know people who are related to me, so they sort of know my face, but they don't know me, you know? And on the flip side, I don't know anyone at all, but a lot of people just know me because they know my brother or my sister or my mum, you know? And this older woman came up to me and said, "Are you so-and-so?" And I'm like, that's a fucking weird... I'm at work, I've got a name tag on, I guess that's that. Yeah? She went, "I'm very sorry to hear about your dad." And I'm like, I on the surface I was like, "Oh, thank you, yeah." Inside I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you are. I'm literally just about getting over this and you're bringing it up. In what world is this does this seem acceptable?
Sorry, when you said "I don't know you," all I could think of was Bobby Hill.
That's fair. If I
I don't know you.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's one of those where like, if you don't know someone and it's been a while since the event, maybe not being your first introduction to someone being, "I'm sorry your dad died."
Yeah.
You know, like, I've never seen that person again, by the way.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry for bringing up this thing that you're trying to get over, you know? Yeah, it's not good luck.
It sucked. And I can imagine it being 10 times worse at school.
Yeah. Because there's always some little shit that will always bring it up and try and hurt you with it.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, his social link is basically people thinking he's cold for not even mourning his sister, and like your presence is what lets him, you know, open up and then move on and actually, you know, mourn his sister.
That's also fucked up.
The thing is, by the time you do this, is like months have passed, so that's what makes it like really weird.
You say that, but mourning is different for everybody.
Yes.
Like, everyone expects you to burst into tears and be unconsolable for months after a loved one passes away, but like, some people just aren't wired that way, and that doesn't mean they don't care. It doesn't mean they're not mourning in their own way. Like, I don't know, it's always weird. Like, I find funerals awkward because first and foremost, they're almost always in a church, and even when they're meant to be non-religious, they bring up religion and they talk about, oh, they're in heaven and this, and it's really hard to, you know, I'm an atheist, I don't make that a secret. I also don't go in people's face and go, "I'm an atheist, you shouldn't believe in blah blah blah," because I really am live and let live type of chap. But it's really hard to like have someone talk about someone you loved and you cared for, and it's like, oh, they're in this idyllic place, they're in heaven now, they're in God's hands, and it's like, you can't say anything, it's not the place or the time, but you're just thinking, I don't know, it's a hard feeling to describe, because you feel just kind of numb inside.
Yeah, exactly though. Like, I found it really difficult not to just blurt out what my brain was repeating all over and over again, which is whenever something was brought up as a line of, "Oh, they're walking by their shepherd now," I'm like, bollocks. The number of times I internally said bollocks to this kind of thing, it was just, well, it didn't help that it was kind of high church, like not quite Catholic, but like high C of E.
I understand where you're coming from there.
Yeah, they were taking themselves way too seriously, and yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult.
I think I was too sad to really be angry. Like I said, I didn't really dwell on it at the time. It's something where in retrospect I've been more annoyed by it than at the time, and you know, it's weird. And again, like, another reason why you sometimes bite your lips is, you know, the person in the coffin believed in it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the funeral is for the people who attend. It's not for the person that's gone. It's for people that attend to feel better about something, to be able to contextualize, to put it into perspective, and if they believe in the mumbo jumbo, then there is mumbo jumbo aplenty.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next one is Temperance. It's Eri Minami. She's a housewife who she's all about trying to bond with her son, who she's very distant with. Can't seem to get any closer to her.
Oh, that is stepkid.
Oh, the stepkid. Yeah. Didn't she? Yeah, she rushed into a marriage with her husband after like 4 dates.
Yeah, because he was loaded.
Yeah, didn't even know that he had a son. Thought everything was going to work out well, and just has real trouble connecting with a son. And yet she wants a prize for basic decency, like picking him up, which, if you're a family member, picking someone up who can't get places without a car is kind of, expected to a degree,
Immediate family, for sure. It's one of those as well.
Yeah.
I might be misremembering this little detail because it's such a common Japanese anime trope. Japanese anime, fucking idiot. You know what I mean. Where I'm pretty sure the father does big business in big Tokyo, so isn't at home most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I think that might be one of the reasons why she married him. It's like, oh, he'll be away a lot and I'll have a ton of money.
Yeah. I think it's through her that you get in contact with the next one, the devil.
No, these are both these are both done by just starting doing jobs. Like Temperance is done by doing the daycare job, and Devil is done by doing the hospital job. You need to have a minimum amount of courage to do the hospital job because there's so many ghost stories.
Yeah, and you're on the night shift, aren't you?
Yeah, and boy was I really excited to find Devil. What's her name? Sadako. It's Sayako who I can't pronounce that surname.
Uehara.
Yeah. So there's two reasons why I like this. One, she's hot. She's basically a precursor to Kawakami for me. Like, split her in half and you get Kawakami and Tai, so we should both be getting bonus for her. And there's that, and also she's my other favourite Arcana type in Devil, because Devils and Angels have sick fucking designs in Persona games.
They do. Although I really like the Star Ultimate, with it being Hel-El.
I thought it was
being Lucifer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pre-fall Lucifer.
Hey?
It's pre-fall Lucifer is Hel-El.
I'll take your word for it.
Sometimes he comes up as Lucifiel in the Japanese versions, because it's just Lucifer, just pronounced differently.
Well, they like to put EL at the IEL, that is, at the end of angel names, so I think that's the logic they were going for.
Yes. Sayoko is she's another one of these Christmas cakes. She transfers to another hospital at the end of her social link, but still refers to Narukami as her boyfriend. But before that, she also married an older doctor, but that didn't end well. So it works both ways. She both likes the younger guy, but says that it's just a joke, and she likes older men, but that goes badly as well.
Well, some people just have shit luck, dude.
There's also an implication that Narukami and her have a quickie.
There's an implication, but I don't think it actually happens.
It fades to black, and they both and she'll be close to you on a hospital bed.
Yeah, but again, I always took that as her just taking the joke to an uncomfortable extreme and then parting at the last minute. I don't think they actually do anything intimate.
Yeah, I think it's up to the viewer to interpret it the way they want at that point.
Well, Narukami, as I said, is a harem protagonist, so going by that logic, he probably did. However, I personally don't see that scene as sexual. I see it as extreme harassment. Not harassment, but
trolling.
Yeah, extreme trolling is what it feels like. However, you bringing up that you needed to talk to Temperance to get Devil, you do need to do Devil for a bit to get Death.
Yes. Hisano Kuroda.
Yeah, you need to be...
She's a cool old granny. She's very pleasant to you, even though she says she basically introduces herself as I am Death.
Yeah.
Because she's all about mourning her husband.
Well, one of the reasons why you give her such a shock is, as she admits later down the line of her S-Link, she straight up says, "By the way, you're a spitting image of my husband when he was younger." Yeah.
And so, like, part of her hanging out with you is just kind of getting over that, but also when you find letters that her husband was sending to her, she just wants to burn them and just move on.
Yeah.
And you stop her from doing that.
There's something profoundly tragic in my mind of burning something that once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, and it's also implied incredibly strongly that her husband was suffering from Alzheimer's, and like it wasn't his death that hit her hardest; it was the fact that he couldn't remember her towards the end.
Yeah, it's the Freya syndrome.
Yeah,
there's nothing worse than being forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
One good thing about her S-Link is all you have to do is talk to her once a week, and you will max it out. There's no requirements.
Yeah.
Also, I will just say as an aside, I find it adorable when they sit by the side of the river, because despite being an ancient granny, she sits like a schoolchild, which I don't know about you, Rick, I just find incredibly adorable.
Yeah, that's kind of cute though, isn't it? And yeah, the last one is Shu Nakajima. He's the tower. He's the tutor to T. You have to be like max in knowledge, don't you, to even like accept the job.
I can't remember. It doesn't actually say. It says work as a tutor on or after 25th of the 5th. That unlocks as an option at the same time as working at the hospital, so it might start at a very low knowledge requirement to start the job, but I imagine by the time you want to max it out, you probably do have to be max in.
Yep. So what he does is he's got a crippling fear of getting anything less than a perfect score, which eventually drives him to cheat on a test, despite the fact that he's got you as a tutor. He looks down on you as someone less intelligent than him, even though you know more than him from having done more years at school.
I think we all know that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's got a nephew, haven't they?
Oh, fuck me.
Little shit.
Like, there's something I like to do with people when they say, oh, by the way, you were right. And whenever they do, I always go, I'm always right. But I say it in that way that's like, it's like, I'm saying this, but I don't fucking mean it.
Yeah, like, oh, yes, I'm always right.
Well, no, I don't say it like that. That just sounds like a shit. But it's like, one thing about the perfection thing, I think everyone, well, not everyone, but most people in their life go through a phase where they're like, everything needs to be perfect. And there's an expression I learned annoyingly late in life. I was about 17, where I learned the expression, any job worth doing is worth doing poorly.
Yeah.
That might...
For me, it was something like, it was a lot more along the lines of, sometimes it's more important to do the right thing than to do it right.
That sounds like a different message.
And it's a similar idea, though. Like, if doing the right thing doesn't necessarily mean doing something morally correct, the idea is that it's doing the thing in the spirit of what you were intending to do, rather than doing it 100% correctly.
Okay, sure, but the message behind mine is more that a lot of people, when they want to do something, it's... the specific problem I'm talking about is, if you don't do it 100% perfectly, as in, that's it, you can do no more, then it's not worth doing at all. Whereas it's like, whereas the expression is like, it's worth doing poorly, it's like, hey, get it done, and even if it's done to a substandard thing, at least it's done. It's very easy to get crippled by like, well, if I can't do it 100% right now, there's no point in getting started. And if you look like that, if you look at any, for example, if you've got a mental issue where you're like, I need to get this done, but there's no point in getting it done if I don't get it done completely right now, you'll never get anything done in your life. I'm just saying, I think the two expressions can't really be correlated, because I think they tackle different issues entirely.
Fair enough. But yeah, we've got a couple of other characters to talk about. Saki Konishi, she's the first, she's the victim that we care most about, because we actually get to talk to her before she dies. She's the one that discovered Mayumi Yamano's body, and that's why she was getting questioned. She works at Junez, which means that her family accuses her of being a traitor, but basically she just wants some money to save up to go on a holiday.
I don't think they do. I think it's implied that's just what she thinks.
Yeah. And then we got Kinshiro Morooka. This is the teacher who looks like a caricature. We all had a teacher like that. No one fucking likes him.
The first thing he does when he introduces you is, hey, you better not have sex, underage child.
Everyone in the school is a whore. Now put on a chastity belt and sit down.
Yeah, and for those of you listening along, I didn't get any of that because Rick is shouting again. But yeah, I think his deal was he didn't get fucked when he was younger, so therefore he thinks everyone else is fucking and he doesn't want them to.
Yep.
It screams insecurity, which fair enough, you're not meant to like this character. His replacement is arguably worse though, because she's the complete opposite end of the spectrum and wants to fuck all the kids.
Oh yeah, Miss Kashiwagi. She's, yes, she does want to, but she says she's on the wrong side of 40.
Fuck off, is she?
But still hits on male students. Yeah, so if she is, then she's taking very good care of herself, but then again, she is in anime form, so, they don't show wrinkles in anime.
Yeah, normally. I know, but you're saying that, but the bubble,
Yep.
She's technically the wrong side of 40, and she's still,
Yeah, she reminds me a lot of, is it Miss Chono in 5? But Miss Chono isn't actually flirtatious, she just looks nice.
You could just say, if it's just looks, you can say Kawakami, but they could not be any more different in their pursuit of students.
Kawakami is completely different. Like, Kawakami doesn't pursue students. She just so happens to get close to you because you've literally helped her solve most of her problems and let her, pursue her actual joy of teaching properly.
Kawakami's problems are literally laughable in how insane they are. In that no one who is... she's under a lot of stress, and, when you line everything up, it's very clear how to see someone would look at things through a tainted lens. But, from an outside perspective, it's like, this is a ridiculous problem that's not a problem.
Yep, and, she also, she has a shit fit when not only does she compete in the beauty pageant, but Naoto wins despite backing out.
Yeah, because even though they don't see her in her bikini, they're just like, oh, that's cute, though.
Yeah, the The power of imagination.
But also, how fucked up is it that she made them have a beauty pageant / talent show type thing, and she made all of these girls who were under the age of 16 parade around in bikinis in front of the entire school.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Then we got Fishman himself, Mitsuo Kubo. We've chatted a bit about him already, but he's a completely unlovable, unlikable guy with no redeeming qualities.
Confirmed murderer.
Yes, confirmed murderer. Blunt force trauma to the occipital cranium. And the one thing that is unique about him, two things actually, is that his shadow is the only one that doesn't say, I am a shadow of the true self. It's the one that goes, I am true emptiness. So he never accepts his shadow because he never accepts that he's completely empty inside and that he's basically nothing.
Which is a severe psychotic issue.
Yes.
But as we've established, he is a psychopath.
I think this is the only time that Kanji actually swears. He picks him up by the neck and just says to him, you piece of shit.
Well, you got to bear in mind as well that until the end, it takes a minute to work out what actually happened in that this guy only killed King Moron, which is still bad, don't get me wrong, and he's going to jail for life. But at this point, everyone believes him when he's taking credit for the other kills.
Yeah, which is incredibly dangerous because he's a copycat killer.
Yeah.
All he's done is killed someone and strung them up the way that they found someone else.
Yeah.
Two people actually. And they had a big problem with this with the Yorkshire Ripper in the 70s or 70s I believe it was, that people kept confessing to it and it kept really throwing the investigation off.
Yeah, and you also had that fucker sending notes into the police pretending to be the Yorkshire Ripper, so much so that they caught the Yorkshire Ripper and interviewed him twice and let him go twice because he didn't match the MO.
Yes.
Also, for a long time they were looking for someone from Sunderland.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense.
My dad kept getting pulled over because he was a guy with a mustache in a car with a lady.
In Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. he could have averted this quite easily by shaving off his mustache, but
it was probably a fucking bitchin' mustache though.
Yeah, it was the 70s. Like, if you didn't have a mustache in the 70s, then you weren't a bloke.
Wow, you're not wrong, but wow. But yeah, I actually want to talk about Mitsuo for a little bit, mostly because first and foremost, his dungeon is probably the most interesting, just because I really like the retro throwback look.
Yeah, the music is groovy.
The music's groovy, but there are times when it gets on your tits.
Oh yeah, sure. And then when you get to a crossroad, there's like a little turntable that sends you the wrong way, which is cute the first time, and then it just gets annoying. But then by the time you know that it's happening, you can just work around it.
Yeah.
And then the boss in Golden, it has an 8-bit remix of the I'll Face Myself theme.
Fair enough. I never quite caught that.
Whereas in the original one, it doesn't.
But yeah, I want to talk about this dungeon as well for another thing, because when I first played this game, I got to this dungeon and oh no, they didn't port this game very well. This is the dungeon where you'd regularly crash.
Ah, okay.
And for a long time I was like, maybe I'll just never beat Persona 4 Golden. And I still haven't beaten it, but it's not because of that. They put a patch out, they fixed it. But yeah, this was the big dungeon that crashed all the time.
Sure.
And fuck this boss fight.
Oh yeah, you got to break it before you can actually attack the middle bit.
It's not difficult, but for the first time I played Persona 4, I was like, why?
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the arse.
A bit?
Yep. And then the last one we're going to talk about, I believe, is Namatame. He's the one that's been doing all of the kidnappings. It's the Enka singer that he was married to, and he had the affair with the reporter. The Enka singer is accused of killing the reporter, but Dojima thinks that it's bullshit because she'd already cut ties with him. So yeah, he goes around trying to do the right thing and just goes deeper and deeper into his own delusion of being the savior. When we fight him, this is the top of heaven, because that's where Nanako's dungeon is, because she's thinking of her mother and can only think of her mother being in heaven, like this idyllic rainbows and clouds.
Yep, and as you said before now, Nanako's dungeon is the dungeon where literally every single player went, no, I'm doing this in a single day.
Yep. I did it for all the other ones as well, but even if I did want to leave anything for one day, this is not the one that you leave for a day.
Oh god, no.
And after you do his dungeon, you have some conversations to have with your team.
Before we have the conversation with the team, very quickly, we do actually learn how Naotame was able to do what he did. He had his own delivery firm, so no one ever questioned questioned anything when a delivery driver in a uniform and in a van turned up in their house. And oh, what's this? There's a TV conveniently in the back of his lorry.
Yep. Which, it's weird that you don't jump into that one, like, the moment that you find it, but oh well. And yeah, the conversation is basically, do we just chuck him in the TV because he's been, like, doing all these murders? Or do we think deeper and think that he might not have been murdering anyone at all?
I think this is the kind of a fucked up way of phrasing the question in game, because you're meant to be the good guys. You're meant to be better than the bad guys. So even if you do 100% believe that Namatame is guilty, you shouldn't be condemning him to death in this manner.
Yeah. If you do,
it's a game over.
Nanako dies.
Wait, what?
It's just the end of the game. Nanako dies. It's not even a game over. You actually get an ending. It's a bad ending, but you get one.
What do you mean Nanako dies if you throw Namatame in?
After you've rescued Nanako, she's basically not responsive.
What? So that's just an arbitrary thing they do to make you feel bad, or is there a connection to you throwing him in the TV?
There's basically, Nanako only survives if you believe in justice.
That's fucking dumb.
Yeah. Either way, she's in a bad way, and you get told that she's passed away, and then if you believe in justice, they go, oh, wait, no, her heart started again.
That's dumb. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Persona, bad.
Yeah. If you do chuck him in the TV and kill him, then as part of the ending, Dojima implies that he knows that it was you, and he just kind of pats you on the back and says, I don't blame you, and don't get in trouble again.
Man, like,
which
it's
is
fine.
Also fucked up, but also...
It's not like, it's not a true ending by any stretch of the imagination, so fine. It can be bad and a bit shitty.
Yeah, I think the idea is that it's meant to make you go back and go through the conversation more with more detail, and that's how you kind of mental gymnastics your way into figuring out that it was Adachi.
I do like that. I do like the scene where you decide who the real killer is, because Naoto's like, here's a list of people we know. We know it's someone we know. Can you work it out? You got 3 guesses, bitch.
After he's done with the dungeon, he realizes that he's been an asshole and actually works to become a good person. I think he ends up being basically the mayor of Inaba.
He breaks, and I don't blame the dude.
Yeah, but yeah, by the end, he's actually healing and he's like doing the right thing and actually becoming like a good friend to anyone who needs it. Like, you guys have got yourselves, but he's gonna stand up for the little guy from now on.
Just imagine it though. You've been told that, hey, if you want to save people, do this thing, and you start doing the thing, and it works. And so you keep doing the thing, then you get confronted, and then when you get confronted for a second time after the initial confrontation, that you get the revelation that, hey, that thing you were doing was what was killing people.
Yeah, that's what's killed people, and we've been rescuing them every time. But yeah, I think that's probably about it. So, if you liked the video...
What the fuck?
You got the comment section down below.
No, we've got 3 questions to ask you. Fucking... Sorry, for those of you who are listening to the podcast after it's been edited, there was a long pause after I said no until Rick's brain kickstarted and went, oh yeah.
Yeah. We've been recording for over 2 hours. I forgot about our actual format. So yeah, let's go into our final 3. So, from all of Persona 4, do you have a favourite moment?
My favourite moment is, of course, because I'm sappy bollocks and they're always done well in Persona games, it's the Christmas date scene.
Yeah! You get your actual date, the person who you've been with, and they come to your house with a cake.
Yes.
It's great.
I like Chies.
And if you have nobody, you get Yosuke and Kanji, and Yosuke gives you his headphones because he realizes he hasn't got you a Christmas present, and Kanji goes, aren't those like 2 years old?
They've got sentimental value, dickweed. But yeah, I like Chie's date. It was cute, but Naoto's date was even cuter and possibly the cutest. I don't think I'll ever witness anyone else's date scene, but I don't care. What about you, Rick? What's your favourite moment from the Persona 4s?
I would say it's probably the King's Game. It's one where all of the girls are there and you get to basically flirt with the one of your choice based on what their suggestions are. Like, sit on his lap or hug him or something like that. And it's all because Rise is annoyed that the rap parties for idol stuff are always really tame while she's there, and they always ramp up to actually be fun when she's gone.
Yeah.
So she wants a real one.
Yeah, Rise, that's because you're 14.
Yep.
And hey, guess what? In the real idol industry, that's not true. Just got to get that dig in there. I will say right now, one of the things about that King game is it did lead to one of the best dojins ever. I'm just saying, and I'll leave it at that.
But we can't always talk talk about the best stuff, we sometimes have to talk about the not so good. Do you have a weakest link?
Weakest link is, I think it's probably the... Persona 5's got this issue too, and I have no doubt Persona 3 does as well. It's the game puts a clock on how long you have to beat dungeons, which would be fine, but they also do the traditional JRPG thing of, by the way, it's super expensive to restore your MP, and it's a real fucking killer combo of, here's your time limit. By the way, your time limit has an additional time limit based on the amount of MP you have. Also, here's our way of giving you MP regeneration. It's a bullshit expensive device.
Yep. And you basically just have to turn the money drops up to max to be able to reliably afford it.
Turn the money drops up to max. Is that a thing you can do in Persona 4?
Yeah, you can just choose what sliding scale you want. You can choose like minimum experience, normal, or maximum experience, and then same for money.
What? Since when?
Since Golden.
What?
Yeah, so you can be on like super hard mode, but with like super rewards, so it's not hard anymore.
That's so fucking... Okay, that's my other weakest link, because that's dumb. Alright, Rick, what about you? Do you have a weakest link for me?
Now here's the thing. I think the weakest link is that I didn't get this game earlier. Like, it's, I should have gone in on it when it was on the PS2. I didn't, because Persona 3 was fine, but I didn't enjoy it as much as some people do. The fact that this is so much more focused works way better to it, and it's the fact that it was following Persona 3, which some people say is a masterpiece, and I'm sure it is, but was very gloomy, meant that it didn't get the attention that it deserved. So that's my weakest link.
AKA Rick gives a cop-out answer.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say that. Okay, I'll give you a better one. That they don't call a spade a spade. If someone is meant to be gay, they don't say it. If someone's meant to be transgender, they don't say it. If someone is meant to have dementia, they don't say it. Like, this is not something that is age restricted.
Okay,
like it's a word.
Again, I'm taking umbrage with you a little bit because while you're right, they do it with other things. The director himself, or at least the head writer, I think, has gone on record as saying the point of Kanji's story is no, he is not gay. The point of Naoto's story is no, she is not transgender. And I, as a person, think if that's your personal interpretation, that's fine. I disagree with it, but I can see why people will put it there.
Yeah, like I'd say that Kanji might have some bisexual leanings, but that's fine. Naoto might have gender dysmorphia, but that's fine. Like, I just wish they'd address it and like use the actual words and be able to have the conversation about it, because if someone in their formative years is playing this, having it in a context of characters that they like is a very good teaching tool, and they missed the mark by not being able to include
But
them.
I disagree to a certain extent here, because I think one of the beauties of it is that those subtexts can be there, but it's such a non-issue for the character as a whole that it could be there or not, and it doesn't affect the plot.
Sure.
Also, this game's from 2008. 2008 was a wild time.
Yeah.
I think people forget how intolerant the world was even 15 years ago.
But yep, we'll get on to the final one. Do you have an MVP?
Adachi. I think
Adachi,
Adachi, hands down, is the best villain Persona has ever done.
Yeah, because he just shows up. He's always taunting you, even when you don't know it.
I think I've brought this up on the podcast so many times. I miss having irredeemable pieces of shit as a villain.
Yeah.
And my god, is Adachi an irredeemable piece of shit. And his motivation is so petty.
Man, that makes it even worse in follow-up games where, like, they give him, like, a villain protagonist role. So, yes, he's still an irredeemable piece of shit, but he's turned against things that need beating up.
But no, he can't be a protagonist in any context of the word, because his fundamental character in Persona 4 is bitches, right?
Yeah, and I only joined the police to own a gun.
That's pretty condemning in its own right. But yeah, I love Adachi, not because he's a good person, but because he is such a petty individual, and his motivation is such a stupidly low bar, and he is just completely irredeemable. He has no redeeming qualities. And they even throw it in your face in Golden, where you have the accomplice ending, and Adachi's like, I don't know why you fucking did this, you're a fucking idiot. And then he fucks off to the sunset.
Yep.
I love it. It's great its own way. What about you, dude? What's your MVP? Or sorry, who's your MVP?
I'm giving it to Shoji Meguro, the composer. Like, there are so many bangers in this soundtrack that I just keep coming back to year after year.
Okay, but what's his excuse for Risei's dungeon theme?
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's another weakest link within my MVP. Yeah. Yeah, I think the idea was it was meant to sound like a strip club when they're like kind of uncomfortable and repetitive and all that. But yeah, like everything else that he did in this game was generally freaking great.
Dude, I think you can just point to Inaba's theme.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be it for us. If you like the video, you've got the comment section down below, and if you're listening via one of the many audio platforms, you can send us an email, which would go to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
Yeah. So, if you've made it this far, as always, you are our favourite people, and it's going to be a goodbye from me.
Yip, motherfucker.